Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to share with you today shakes the very foundation of how many approach their faith, their purpose, and their calling. There's a verse in the Bible, yes, just one, that makes even the most seasoned preacher sweat. It's a verse so bold, so unyielding, that many avoid it like the plague. But today we're not going to run from it. We're going to face it head on, because, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to share with you today shakes the very foundation of how many approach their faith, their purpose, and their calling. There's a verse in the Bible, yes, just one, that makes even the most seasoned preachers sweat. It's a verse so bold, so unyielding, that many avoid it like the plague. But today, we're not going to run from it. We're going to face it head on, because the truth hidden here is the key to unlocking your destiny, your influence, and your breakthrough. The truth hidden here is the key to unlocking your destiny, your influence, and your breakthrough. Absolutely! Here's an expanded version of that first emotional keynote, stretched out into 8 paragraphs without a heading or conclusion. There is a verse in the Bible that many avoid like the plague. It's not because it's hard to understand or too complicated, but because it cuts deep. It exposes truths that many aren't ready to face. Even the strongest preachers, those who have preached from thousands of pulpits and taught countless sermons, have felt a shiver run down their spine when confronting this passage. It forces us to look in the mirror and ask difficult questions about our faith, our commitment, and our obedience. This kind of truth is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Most people want comforting words, messages that soothe, encourage, and reassure them that everything is going to be all right. But this verse doesn't offer comfort, it offers confrontation. It confronts us with the reality that faith without action is dead, that blessings unused are blessings wasted, and that ignoring our gifts is a form of betrayal, not just to ourselves, but to the very purpose for which we were created. It challenges us to step out of our comfort zones and face the hard realities of our lives and the world around us. The reason this verse terrifies so many is because it speaks to accountability. It reminds us that the gifts, talents, and opportunities we receive come with a price responsibility. We can't simply sit on what we've been given, waiting for the perfect moment, or hiding our light under a bushel out of fear or complacency. There is a divine expectation that we use what we have to the fullest to multiply what we've been entrusted with and to pursue excellence in all things. The truth is, our gifts are not ours to keep. They are meant to be invested in the lives of others. When we shy away from this truth, we rob ourselves of the chance to fulfill our destiny. We rob the world of what only we can contribute. There's a profound sadness in that, a loss that echoes beyond the immediate moment. This verse forces us to reckon with the idea that time is limited, that opportunities are fleeting, and that if we don't act now, we may never act at all. It calls us to awaken from spiritual slumber and rise to the calling placed on our lives. This confrontation with truth can be terrifying because it strips away excuses. It doesn't allow us to blame circumstances, past failures, or lack of resources. Instead, it demands that we take ownership of our potential and the role we are meant to play. It cuts through self-deception and comfort zones, forcing us to face the reality of what we are doing with what we've been given. This level of accountability is scary, but it is also liberating. The fear we feel when we read this verse is not a sign to back away. It is a call to step forward. It's a call to rise up and claim the power and responsibility that comes with being a steward of God's gifts. It's a reminder that greatness is not about playing it safe, but about being willing to risk, to sacrifice, and to push beyond limitations. The trembling fear in our hearts is the echo of a greater courage waiting to be unleashed. Even the mightiest figures in Scripture faced moments of terrifying truth, moments when God's demands pressed hard against their doubts and fears. But those who chose to face the truth head on became legends. They changed the course of history not because they were perfect, but because they were willing to confront the hard realities, stand in the fire, and keep moving forward. That same courage is available to us. This verse that terrifies preachers and believers alike is not a curse. It is a gateway. It's a gateway to transformation, to purpose, and to power. When we stop running from this truth and start embracing it, we open ourselves to the life-changing, destiny-shaping work that God intends for us. It is the first step on a journey toward greatness that demands our full attention and our unshakable faith. There is a danger in waiting for the right time, the perfect opportunity, or the ideal circumstances. It's a trap that many fall into because it feels safer to delay action than to risk failure or disappointment. But the truth is, waiting is often a form of procrastination disguised as patience. The moment you've been waiting for might never come unless you create it yourself. Every second you spend waiting is a second lost, a chance missed, a door that slowly begins to close. The gifts and talents you possess are not just random blessings, they are intentional deposits placed in your life for a purpose. They are not ornaments to be admired from afar, but tools to be wielded. When you choose to wait instead of acting, you are letting those gifts lie dormant, unused, and unproductive. This creates a weight on your soul because deep down, you know you were made for more than inactivity. You were made to move, to grow, and to impact. There is a sense of urgency that often goes unspoken but is felt deeply in the spirit. Time is the one resource that we cannot replenish. You cannot buy more hours, rewind moments, or extend your days beyond what has been allotted. Each passing moment is a step closer to a deadline you cannot control. If you don't act now, your dreams, your potential, and your destiny can quietly slip through your fingers without you even realizing it until it's too late. Waiting for external validation or perfect conditions is a luxury few can afford. Conditions will never be perfect. The economy may be uncertain, your resources limited, your confidence shaky, and the world unpredictable. But this is precisely why acting now is essential. It is in the middle of imperfection that greatness is forged. Waiting for the stars to align means you may miss the very opportunity God has placed right in front of you. The responsibility that comes with your gifts is not just about personal success, but about stewardship. You are a caretaker of what you've been given, and that stewardship demands action. Neglecting this responsibility is more than just wasted potential. It's a breach of trust with yourself and with the divine source that entrusted you with those gifts. Accountability doesn't wait for convenience, and neither should you. The moment you decide to stop waiting and start moving, you shift from being a passive observer of life to an active creator of your destiny. This transition requires courage, discipline, and faith. It means stepping into uncertainty with the conviction that your efforts will produce fruit. It means accepting that failure may come, but it will not be the end. It will be part of the process. There is a power and urgency that fuels momentum and breaks through paralysis. When you internalize that now is the time to act, your mind sharpens, your focus intensifies, and your energy aligns with your purpose. This urgency is not about rushing recklessly, but about prioritizing wisely and refusing to let fear dictate your pace. It pushes you to take steps, even small ones, that build up into progress and breakthroughs. Every great achievement throughout history started with a decision to act despite fear, uncertainty, and imperfect timing. The choice to move forward, to rise up, And to use what you have right now is what separates those who dream from those who do. Waiting is the enemy of progress, but action, bold, purposeful action, is the doorway to transformation. The demand for excellence is not just a lofty ideal, it is a divine expectation. This verse that terrifies many calls out mediocrity with unrelenting clarity. It exposes the temptation to settle for less than what we are capable of and confronts us with the reality that anything less than our best is a waste of the gifts entrusted to us. Excellence is not about perfection, but about a relentless pursuit of growth and impact, refusing to accept anything that falls short of our highest calling. Too often, people are comfortable living in the safe zone, repeating routines, and avoiding risks. They settle into mediocrity because it feels easier, safer, and less demanding. But this verse challenges that comfort. It says that faith without action, gifts unused, and opportunities ignored are not only unproductive, but also a betrayal of the purpose for which we were created. Excellence demands we push beyond comfort and complacency into boldness and intentionality. The challenge to pursue excellence is not a message of condemnation, but a call to awakening. It's a reminder that we were made to create, to influence, and to lead. Every talent you possess has the potential to grow into something extraordinary when nurtured with discipline and passion. The world does not need another spectator. It needs warriors, pioneers, and change makers who refuse to accept anything less than their best. When we refuse mediocrity, we begin to see our lives differently. We see ourselves as stewards of a sacred trust, called to develop and multiply the gifts we've been given. This mindset shifts us from passivity to proactivity. It empowers us to take ownership of our growth and impact, understanding that our excellence is a reflection of our commitment to our purpose and to those we serve. Excellence is not an accident. It is a habit cultivated through daily choices. It requires discipline to show up when motivation fades, courage to face challenges head on, and resilience to keep going when setbacks come. This verse demands that we develop those habits, that we refuse to be satisfied with good enough, and that we embrace the hard work required to grow into the fullness of who we are meant to be. The pursuit of excellence is also a journey of faith. It asks us to trust that our efforts are not in vain and that the process of refining and growing is part of a greater plan. This trust fuels persistence, allowing us to keep pushing forward even when progress seems slow or invisible. The verse's demand for excellence is a divine nudge, reminding us that our best work honors the gifts and calling we've received. Mediocrity is a thief. It steals time, potential, and opportunity. This verse exposes the danger of settling for less and calls us to a higher standard. It ignites a fire within, a refusal to be ordinary, a hunger to be extraordinary. Excellence transforms not only our lives, but also the lives of those around us, creating ripples of influence that extend far beyond what we can see. The call to excellence is a call to courage. It takes courage to rise above the average, to step into your purpose fully, and to refuse to be held back by fear or doubt. This verse stands as a bold challenge to embrace that courage every day, to push beyond limitations, and to walk boldly on the path of growth, impact, and transformation. True success is often misunderstood. Many think success is about what you accumulate, money, status, possessions, but the real measure of success is what you multiply. It's not about hoarding gifts, talents, or opportunities. It's about investing them so they grow and impact others. This verse demands that we look beyond ourselves and see the greater purpose of what we have been given. Our lives are meant to be conduits of blessing, channels through which something greater flows. When you hold tightly to your gifts without sharing or growing them, they become stagnant. Potential shrinks, influence fades, and opportunities slip away. Multiplication is the divine principle that fuels growth in every area of life. Whether it's knowledge, love, resources, or influence, what you multiply multiplies your impact and expands your legacy. The verse reminds us that to withhold what we have is to limit not only ourselves but the world around us. Multiplication requires intentionality. It means choosing to invest time, energy, and resources in ways that produce exponential returns. It means mentoring, teaching, creating, and serving. It means using your talents not just for personal gain, but to uplift and empower others. This is the heart of leadership and stewardship, understanding that your success is intrinsically tied to the success you help create in others. There is a profound joy that comes from multiplication. It's the joy of seeing your efforts bear fruit beyond what you imagined. When you pour your gifts into others, you are planting seeds that grow into forests, rivers, and harvests you could never achieve alone. This joy is a reward in itself, a fulfillment that no amount of personal accumulation can replace. It's a deeper, more lasting satisfaction rooted in purpose and legacy. Multiplication also demands sacrifice. Sometimes you must give up comfort, time, or even recognition so that others can grow. This verse challenges us to move beyond self-centered thinking and embrace a mindset of generosity and expansion. It's not always easy, and it often goes against natural instincts to protect what we have, but true success requires the courage to give and multiply. The principle of multiplication transforms how we view challenges and setbacks. Instead of seeing obstacles as reasons to quit or protect what we have, it pushes us to find new ways to grow and expand. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to innovate, to stretch, and to increase impact. This mindset turns limitations into launching pads, fueling a cycle of growth and multiplication. Multiplying our gifts also creates a ripple effect. What you invest in others returns to you in unexpected ways, creating a network of influence that grows beyond your immediate reach. This verse reminds us that we are part of a larger story, that our impact can echo across generations, changing lives long after we are gone. Multiplication turns individual success into collective transformation. Ultimately, the call to multiply is a call to live beyond yourself. It's an invitation to be part of something bigger, to contribute to a legacy that outlasts your lifetime. This verse demands that we refuse to live small or selfishly, but rise to the responsibility of being agents of growth, change, and blessing in the world. It's a high calling that asks for everything but promises far more in return. Fear can be one of the most powerful forces holding us back from stepping into our destiny. It whispers doubts, magnifies risks, and convinces us that safety lies in inaction. Yet, this verse challenges us not to let fear be our master. Instead of letting that fear paralyze us, it calls us to let the truth ignite a fire within, a fire that burns away hesitation and lights the path forward. The fear you feel is not a signal to retreat. It is the very thing that can propel you to rise higher than you ever thought possible. There is a difference between fear that freezes and fear that fuels. The fear spoken of in this verse is meant to awaken a courage deep inside you, a courage that is greater than the doubts and uncertainties you face. When you embrace that fear and transform it into fuel, you shift your mindset from limitation to empowerment. This shift changes everything. Suddenly, obstacles become challenges to overcome rather than reasons to quit. To stand up and step out is not easy. It requires vulnerability, the willingness to expose your weaknesses and take risks that could lead to failure. But it is in that vulnerability that true strength is forged. This verse demands that we don't shrink away from the discomfort of growth, but lean into it with boldness and determination. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it is the choice to move forward despite it. Action creates momentum. When you take that first step, no matter how small, you break the chains of inertia. Movement breeds confidence, and confidence breeds more movement. This verse reminds us that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Waiting for confidence or certainty is a trap. Only action can produce the forward motion that transforms dreams into reality. There is a sacred power in using what you've been given. It is a form of worship, a declaration that you value the gifts entrusted to you. This verse calls for more than just passive acceptance. It demands active engagement. Your talents, time, and energy are not incidental. They are divine appointments meant to be leveraged for impact. When you refuse to use them, you reject the very purpose for which they were given. This call to action is a call to ownership. It asks you to take responsibility for your life, your growth, and your influence. No one else can do this for you. The fear that holds you back is yours to confront, and the power to move forward is also within you. This verse holds up a mirror and says, you are capable. You are equipped. Now step into your greatness. Every step taken in faith becomes a testimony. It inspires others to do the same. This verse reminds us that courage is contagious. When you rise above fear and step into action, you become a beacon for those still stuck in hesitation. Your boldness lights a path, creating a ripple effect that can transform entire communities and generations. The choice to stand up and step out is a declaration. It says you refuse to be defined by fear, doubt, or limitation. It says you choose purpose over comfort and impact over safety. This verse challenges you to be the person who moves first, who dares greatly, and who embraces the power within to create the life and legacy you were born to live.